Hi students, let us go to the next topic in this chapter, complexes, that is metal carbonyls. Actually we completed valence bond theory in the last session. We have seen there are only few compounds whose structures are satisfactorily explained by VBT. In majority of the cases, VBT fails to explain. And after VBT, we will study crystal field theory. But before I start this crystal field theory, let me discuss a small topic, metal carbonyls. Bonding in metal carbonyls and their other characteristics. Okay. So the topic name is metal carbonyls, and you all know carbonyl ligand is nothing but carbon monoxide. So when carbon monoxide is the ligand, what are the characteristics of such compounds? Metal carbonyls. So let us see what is so special about metal carbonyls. Actually, before starting the topic, let me ask you a small question. What is so special about carbonyls? That a separate topic is dedicated for that particular ligand. We have so many ligands. We have Cl minus, Cn minus, water, ammonia, ethylene, diamine. So many ligands are there. But we are not discussing about them topic wise. So we are studying only carbonyls as a topic. So there is something special to carbon monoxide. Okay. So now let me discuss various aspects of these metal carbonyls. Now if you come to first point, carbon monoxide is a weak Lewis base. Yeah, basically it is a Lewis base because both carbon and oxygen have one lone pair each. Although oxygen cannot donate the lone pair because it has donated already one lone pair, it cannot donate the second. Carbon can donate. So it is a Lewis base. The two you all know, each and every ligand is a Lewis base. Ligand is just another name of Lewis base. So, but carbon monoxide is a very weak Lewis base. Suppose if you add any Lewis acid like AlCl3, like ZnCl2, then carbon monoxide does not readily react with those Lewis acids. But it is found that in metal carbonyls, that means in complexes where carbon monoxide is the ligand, metal carbon bond is very strong. And you all know in complexes the central metal ion acts as a Lewis acid because it accepts lone pairs from the ligands. So elsewhere outside complexes, carbon monoxide is a weak Lewis base. But surprisingly in complexes, the bond between the Lewis acid, that means the central metal ion, and the Lewis base, that is the ligand, is very strong. This is the first point. Now in the second point, if you come to this, generally, that means in majority of the complexes, metal carbonyls. So in metal carbonyls, the central metal ion is generally in a lower oxidation state. All of you will see the examples now. 99% of the cases, the central metal ion is in zero oxidation state. Not even positive. Not +1, +2, +3, no. No CO +3, no CO +2. No Ni+2. So, generally it is in a lower oxidation state, and you know, sometimes even negative, sometimes it goes to negative also. So lower oxidation state means most of the times 0, even negative. and you rarely see +1. This is the second point. And third point, at the beginning of the bonding of the complexes, I told you there is one, I told you about one small concept, EAN rule. It is analogous to octet rule. So according to EAN rule, the central metal ion continues to accept lone pairs from the ligands until the total number of electrons in it becomes equal to those present in the next higher noble gas. And at that time we saw that very few complexes follow that rule. Majority of the complexes violate that rule. But in metal carbonyls, almost all the metal carbonyls follow EAN rule. So metal carbonyls remarkably follow EAN rule. But when ligand is ammonia, ligand is CN minus, when the ligand is Cl minus, water, ethylene diamine, very few complexes follow that rule. And the majority of the complexes violate that rule. But in the case of metal carbonyls, maximum complexes follow that rule. In the case of metal carbonyls, almost all the complexes follow EAN rule. Sometimes even the EAN rule helps us predicting the structure of metal carbonyls, reactions of metal carbonyls. So all of you please keep this in mind, they remarkably follow EAN rule. So there are three important features of these metal carbonyls. So one is somehow carbon monoxide here is a strong Lewis base, otherwise the metal carbonyl bond would be weak, no, but it is not weak, it is strong. But elsewhere in inorganic chemistry, carbon monoxide is not such a good Lewis base. And second one, oxidation state, the metals are in low oxidation state, sometimes even negative, which is unthinkable for a metal, negative oxidation state. And they follow EAN rule meticulously. Almost all metal carbonyls, 99% follow EAN rule. Now let us see some examples. Suppose if you see VCO6, a vanadium complex, no charge on the coordination entity. So here what is the oxidation state of vanadium? 0. Come to the second point, all of you. Generally the metal is in low oxidation state. Okay. Now next chromium complex, CrCO6, overall charge is 0. Chromium in 0 oxidation state. Now we have FeCO5 and overall charge is 0. All homoleptic complexes and coordination number 5. Here iron is in 0 oxidation state. Now we have one more complex which we have seen in our previous discussion, NiCO taken 4 times. And here nickel is in 0 oxidation state. Now there are some more examples which I will show you later. Now let us see the case of these 4 examples. Now if you come to this VCO6, actually at this level, in JEE Advanced, JEE Mains, NEET and MCET, at this level, intermediate level, whatever examples we see in metal carbonyls, n number of examples, maybe 6, maybe 8, maybe 10. This is the only carbonyl which violates EAN rule. This complex follows, this complex follows it, this complex follows it. Later on, I may take 3 or 4 more examples. All of them, you will see, all of them follow EAN rule. So, out of the metal carbonyls which we are going to discuss, this is the only metal carbonyl which violates EAN rule. That is the reason I wrote this particular characteristic. Almost all the complexes follow EAN rule. Now, if you come to vanadium, what is the atomic number of vanadium? Scandium, titanium, vanadium, 21, 22, 23. And vanadium is in 0 oxidation state. So, its electron configuration, you need not see electron configuration. We are just checking whether it follows EAN rule or not. So, if you know atomic number, yes, it suffices. So, its atomic number is 23. No electron lost. And how many ligands are donating lone pairs? 12. And it comes out to be 35. 1 less than the atomic number of krypton, the next higher noble gas. Okay, now if you come to chromium complex, CrCO6, and here chromium atomic number 24 and 6 carbon monoxide are donating lone pairs. So 24 plus 12, it is 36. This is following EAN rule. Now here if you see the iron, it is 26, the atomic number of iron. And iron is in 0 oxidation state, no electron is lost. And 5 ligands donating the lone pairs. So it is 36. If you come to nickel, it is 28 atomic number, no electron is lost, again its oxidation state is 0. And 28 plus 8, 4 ligands are donating the lone pairs. So it is 36. So as I told you already, VCO6 is the only complex which violates EAN rule. And one more thing, one more very important point. If you treat this VCO6 with a reducing agent, and you see all of you, how many electrons are short of 36? The atomic number of next higher noble gas, that is krypton. Only 1 is less. Somehow if vanadium gains 1 electron, then the total number of electrons in it would be 36. And this VCO6 complex is unstable, and when you treat that complex with a reducing agent like sodium, then you will get a complex that is NaVCO6. And all of you see what is the oxidation state of vanadium in this complex? -1. Overall charge is -1, so on vanadium we should have -1. Now, what is the EAN of this particular complex? Now, vanadium -1, so it is 24, and 6 carbonyls 12, and now it is total, it comes out to be 36. See, that means even the complex, even that complex which is violating the EAN rule tends to gain 1 electron, and then it will follow the EAN rule. So that is the importance of this particular point. The third point, almost all the complexes follow EAN rule. Now let me give you 2 more examples for these metal carbonyls. So in that the first example is Mn twice CO10, then second one is CO cobalt complex twice CO8. So actually these type of complexes, I think for the first time we are seeing a complex in which there are 2 metal atoms. We generally call them as polynuclear complexes, binuclear complexes. Nucleus means a kind of central metal ion or central metal atom. Okay, now let us see what are the structures of these 2 complexes. and let us see whether they follow the special characteristics of the metal carbonyls which we discussed. The metal should be in low oxidation state. The complex should follow EAN rule. Okay. Now, if you come to the structure of Mn2CO taken 10 times, it is like this. There is Mn bond, and that is one special feature of this complex. There is a bond between metal and metal. Okay, and here we have 5 carbonyls. And here also we have 5 carbonyls. Now let us check whether this complex follows EAN rule. Okay, Mn, between those two manganese atoms there is a bond, and each manganese is attached to 5 carbonyl groups, and oxidation state of manganese is 0. And what is the atomic number of manganese? 25. So 25 as it is, no loss of electrons. Now from this bond, from this covalent bond, each manganese gains 1 electron. You all know covalent bond is formed by sharing of electrons, and this manganese, if you count the total number of valence electrons in that manganese, so obviously you count these 2 electrons, but out of those 2 electrons, 1 already belongs to manganese, so there is 1 gain. It is a normal covalent bond. It is not a coordinate covalent bond. It is not formed by lone pair donation and acceptance. It is formed by equal sharing. This manganese gives 1 electron, this manganese gives 1 electron, and now the 2 electron they belong to both the manganese. So gain is 1. So plus 1. So this electron is coming from this particular bond, and we have 5 coordinate covalent bonds. Carbon monoxide is donating the lone pair, manganese is accepting that, so plus 10, and that is equal to 36. Same is the case with this manganese also. Okay, now it is following EAN rule, and here like other metal carbonyls, the oxidation state of manganese is 0. Now if you come to this complex, now see, carbon cobalt, bond cobalt, similar to the previous complex, here also we have metal bond, and as a result of that bond the metal gains 1 electron. And one more feature of this particular complex is we have 2 carbonyls here which act as a bridged carbonyls. That means each carbonyl is bonded to 2 cobalt atoms, and we have 2 such carbon monoxide ligands. So the carbon monoxide ligand carbonyl group is bound to 2 metal atoms, and that is with normal sigma bond, normal covalent bond. It is not a coordinate covalent bond. That means this carbon has a lone pair of electrons, and out of those 2 electrons, 1 electron is used in this bond formation, 1 electron used in this bond formation. That bridged carbonyl is exactly like carbonyl carbon which you have studied in organic chemistry. The carbonyl carbon which is present in aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid. You recall all of you? In organic chemistry there are 7 different compounds having that carbonyl carbon. The same situation here. Okay, and this cobalt now is attached to 3 carbon monoxide ligands, and this cobalt also is attached to 3 carbonyl groups. Now let us see whether this complex shows EAN rule or not. Now cobalt 27, oxidation state of cobalt is here is 0. So no electron is lost. So 27 plus, now see, this cobalt or this cobalt, they form 3 normal covalent bonds each. One here, one here and one here. So from those 3 bonds, each cobalt gains 3 electrons. This bond contains 2 electrons, bonded electrons. This bond also 2 electrons, this bond also 2 electrons, total 6. And out of the total 6, 3 already belongs to this cobalt. So it is gaining only 3. So 27 plus 3 plus 3 carbon monoxide, 6, 3 into 2, because these 3 bonds are coordinate bonds. So now it is 36. Yes, it is following EAN rule, and oxidation state of cobalt is 0. Now here one interesting feature of this particular complex is CO2, cobalt 2, CO, that means carbon monoxide 8 times. This complex can have a different structure, and in that structure also the complex follows EAN rule. Now let me show you that structure. It is CO bond CO, and we have carbon monoxide, like that we have 4 here and 4 here. Now let us see whether this structure follows EAN rule or not. Now 27 cobalt, you take any cobalt. Now from this bond it gets 1 electron, and we have 4 CO, 4 into 2, 8, and it is 36. And that structure of CO, 2 CO taken 8 times exists. Although it is compared to this structure, that structure is unstable. That exists only in some non-polar solvents, but it exists. So whatever may be the structure, more stable structure and less stable structure, both structures are following EAN rule. So polynuclear complexes, 2 examples for metal carbonyls, Mn2CO10, CO2CO8, cobalt carbonyl, manganese carbonyl. So these are the 2 more examples. So out of 6 examples we have seen, only one particular carbonyl did not follow EAN rule. And even that complex tends to gain 1 electron, thereby it will follow EAN rule. So whenever you treat that complex with sodium, that will gain 1 electron and it becomes NaVCO6. We have already seen that. Now let us see the bonding in metal carbonyls. Now there is one more specialty you are going to see in this topic about this metal carbonyls. All of you, do you remember when we classified ligands at the beginning of this chapter? I have shown you one particular category of ligands, and those ligands are sigma donors and pi acceptors. And in that I have given you carbon monoxide as the example, sigma donor and pi acceptor. So this ligand donates electron density and thereby forms sigma bond, and this ligand in turn accepts electron density from the metal and thereby it forms a pi bond. So donating electron density sigma bond, accepting electron density pi bond. So between the metal and carbon in carbon monoxide, the number of bonds is in fact greater than 1. It is not 1. In the case of other ligands like pure sigma donors, ammonia, water, Cl minus, in such cases there is only 1 bond between the metal and the ligand. But here the number of bonds is more than 1. Now let us see how it is. So now let us discuss some aspects of bonding in metal carbonyls. And actually you can discuss this bonding from 2 different aspects. One from valence bond theory. Valence bond theory successfully explains the bonding in metal carbonyls. If you want to see molecular orbital theory, So both theories can satisfactorily explain the bonding in metal carbonyls. Now first let us come to valence bond theory. So what exactly happens in metal carbonyls is, suppose this is the metal. First let me write down carbon monoxide structure. C, one normal sigma and normal pi. Now this oxygen donates a lone pair to the carbon. As a result, oxygen gets positive charge and carbon gets negative charge. So both carbon and oxygen have one lone pair each. And you know, generally any atom in the periodic table, oxygen, sulfur, chlorine, although they have multiple lone pairs, more than one lone pair, but they donate only one lone pair at a time. So oxygen can no more donate a lone pair. It has already donated the lone pair to carbon. So in carbon monoxide, the actual donor atom is carbon, not oxygen. This is the first point. And this is the structure of carbon monoxide. And one more thing. Suppose if anybody asks you, what is the bond order in carbon monoxide? Now you can answer that question with the help of VBT and with the help of MOT. And in this case, there is no necessity of going to MOT, although I will explain it later. And if you see VBT, you see structure is before you. How many number of bonds are there between carbon and oxygen? 3 bonds. So according to the VBT, the bond order in carbon monoxide is 3. 1 sigma bond and 2 pi bonds. Okay. Now, suppose such a ligand donates electron density to the metal. So a coordinate covalent bond is formed, and then the situation is like this. Oxygen has one lone pair, still there is a coordinate bond between O and C, there is a plus charge on oxygen. Now carbon does not have lone pair because the lone pair was donated to the metal already, and carbon has no more that negative charge also disappears. So now this is the situation, and we will get negative charge on metal. You all know, whenever a coordinate covalent bond is formed, there is positive charge on the donor and a negative charge on the acceptor. So this is the case. Now, all of you recall resonance. Now, do you think this negative charge and the pi bond here, they are in conjugation? Yes. Lone pair and multiple bond conjugation. All of you recall allylic carbon ion. You can recall that. The negative charge on the allylic carbon is in conjugation with the pi bond. So we have a similar conjugation here. So as a result, we can write down its resonating structure. So you can form a new pi bond here. You can break this pi bond, and as a result the resonating structure will be metal. Now double bond, you can write down one of them is coordinate covalent bond, carbon. Now that coordinate bond is broken, now oxygen will take its lone pair back. Originally oxygen donated the lone pair to carbon, but it will take its lone pair back. So now it is oxygen, it has 2 lone pairs, no charge. And carbon has 4 bonds, no charge. Now metal is forming 2 bonds with carbon, no charge. Now these two are the resonating structures. Now all of you see the behavior of carbon monoxide. Now don't you agree with me that carbon monoxide is a sigma donor? You see the arrow mark formed between that carbon and metal, that is sigma bond or pi bond? Sigma bond. Sigma donor. And the lone pair is donated by carbon, sigma donor. Now, what carbon is doing? Carbon is accepting the electrons from the metal in turn. And this is the speciality of carbon monoxide. This is the speciality of all pi acceptors, sigma donors and pi acceptors. So now this carbon accepts the lone pair, so pi acceptor. Because by accepting that electron density, which bond is formed? Pi bond. You cannot have 2 sigma bonds between same 2 atoms. So the second bond must be a pi bond. So pi acceptor. Okay. And you see, in carbon monoxide, the bond order is full 3. You can confidently say it is 3. And the same carbon monoxide, when it forms a bond with metal in metal carbonyls, sigma donor and pi acceptor. Now what will be the bond order between that carbon and oxygen? The same carbonyl group, what will be its bond order in metal carbonyls? Do you think it is still 3? No. Here if you combine these two and if you write down the hybrid, now let me write down. Generally between resonating structures and the hybrid we use that sign, 3 horizontal lines or vertical, whatever it may be. So now you can write down like this: metal, there is the sigma bond complete, this structure and this structure both have sigma bonds, but this structure has pi bond and that structure does not have pi bond, so that will be a partial pi bond in the hybrid. Now carbon, now here 2 bonds are there, here also, you can write down those 2 bonds as it is. Oxygen, now here we have partial bond, because that the third bond is there here in one of the resonating structures, but it is not there in the other structure. So we have a partial bond there. So what happened to the bond order? Decreased. Now the bond order of that carbonyl is between 3 and 2. So we cannot say it is 2.5 because we cannot say that these two are equally contributing structures. One may be more stable, the other one will be less stable. So we are not worried about that. The bond order is not 2.5. It is between 3 and 2. So the bond order has decreased. So now actually this sigma donating tendency and pi accepting tendency, the bond that is formed between metal and carbon, that is called as a synergy bond. That particular bond is called as synergy bond. SYNERGY. Do you know what is meant by synergy? The literal meaning of synergy is mutual cooperation, putting the combined efforts. That is the actual meaning of synergy. So exactly what happens here is, carbon monoxide is a donor, and the donor donating ability of carbon monoxide is increased because of the metal. Because metal is in turn giving the electron density to the carbon monoxide, and by accepting the electron density from the metal ion, now carbon monoxide has increased its tendency to donate. The donating ability of carbon monoxide has actually increased because of the donating ability of the metal. And when metal donates the electron density, it will get positive charge. So the metal in turn increases its capacity to accept the sigma electrons from carbon monoxide. Mutual. It is mutual. Metal is increasing the electron donating capacity of carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide in turn is increasing the electron accepting power of the metal. So mutually they are increasing, mutually they together are strengthening the bond, because the bond order is more than 1. So synergy bond. So that is the bonding in metal carbonyls. And I told you at the beginning of this topic, carbon monoxide elsewhere is a weak Lewis base. So whenever there is no pi donating ability from the Lewis acid, carbon monoxide is not a good donor. But whenever the Lewis acid donates electron density, then carbon monoxide's electron donating ability increases enormously, and the bond becomes very strong. So this is what is meant by sigma donation pi acceptance, and carbon monoxide is one such example, one such ligand. Okay, and what are the consequences of this particular bonding, this type of bonding, synergy bonding? Now see, for example, we have a complex that is V. Now let me take just 2 examples. Let me tell you actually how the questions can be asked in this topic. Now we have VCO6 minus, and I just told you about this. This complex is obtained from the reaction of VCO6 with sodium, and VCO6 minus follows EAN rule, although VCO6 does not follow. Okay, we have chromium complex, that is CrCO6. It follows EAN rule. 24 plus 12. Now we have one more complex, that is MnCO. The charge is, overall charge of this complex is plus. And I told you already, plus 1 oxidation state, even plus 1 oxidation state is very rare in metal carbonyls. If you remember, 0 is very famous. Maximum almost all the metal atoms have 0, sometimes negative and rarely positive. Now, once you see this bonding, this type of bonding which is called a synergic bonding, now you think about that, why the central metal atom, central metal ion in metal carbonyls, they exhibit low oxidation state and sometimes even negative. Because when the oxidation state is low or negative, the donating ability of the metal increases. And you just tell me one thing, CO plus 3, CO plus 2 and CO, which is a good donor of electron density? Obviously CO. Because CO plus 3 carries already plus 3 charge. It is the worst donor out of the 3. And CO is the best donor. And if you compare, if you add CO minus, it is still better. It is better than CO. So, more negative the oxidation state or less positive the oxidation state, more is the donating ability and stronger is the bond between metal and carbon. And this is the reason why in metal carbonyls, the metals are generally in low oxidation state or negative oxidation state. Now, the question here is, what is the CO bond length order? In which of these complexes CO bond is the bond length is least and in which of them it is highest? Now see, metal is donating the electron density and as a result bond order in carbon monoxide is decreasing. So, more the extent of donation, lesser is the bond order. Lesser the bond order, greater the bond length. If number of bonds are, if the number of bonds decrease, then bond length increases. So, suppose if the question is about bond order, first, then V minus has the maximum donating ability because it is carrying negative charge, and Mn plus has the least ability to donate the electron density because it is carrying plus charge. Because it has the least ability tendency to donate the electron pair, carbon monoxide bond order there is the maximum. So, if you come to the bond order, then this is the order, because more the donation, more the extent of donation, lesser is the bond order. Now, this is the bond order, order of bond order. Now, if you come to bond length, because bond order and bond length are opposite, then the relation will be this one. In that complex where the central metal ion donates the electron density to the maximum extent, in that case the bond length will be least. Bond length will be, highest, because bond order is least. They are opposite. This is one thing. One more thing. Now, actually in our last two examples of metal carbonyls, one is Mn twice, CO taken 10 times. Similarly, CO twice cobalt, carbon monoxide taken 8 times. For example, if you see cobalt case, then all of you recall CO, 2 bridging carbonyls and 6 terminal carbonyls, and terminal carbonyls are like that, and bridging carbonyl is like this. If you remember, this is the structure of that cobalt complex, cobalt carbonyl. Now say, suppose if you take bridging carbonyl, you take terminal carbonyl. Terminal carbonyls means the carbonyl which forms only one bond with the metal ion. That is the coordinate covalent bond. So, you take terminal carbonyl, any of these 6, and you take bridging carbonyl, and you take carbon monoxide. Now, can you tell me in which the bond order is maximum and in which the bond order is minimum? Now, see, can I write this order? If you write down the order of bond order, highest to lowest, Carbon monoxide has the highest bond order, that is 3. Now you see the structure. Then comes terminal carbonyl group, because in that you have already seen the bond order is between 2 and 3, maybe 2.4, maybe 2.6, maybe 2.5. We are not worried about the exact value, but it is between 3 and 2. So next comes terminal carbon, then comes bridging carbonyl. Because in bridging carbonyl group, what is the bond order? Perfectly 2. And I already told you it is just like carbonyl carbon in aldehydes, carbonyl carbon in ketones. So the bond order is 2. Bond order 2, bond order 3, and bond order between 2 and 3. And here the bond order is 2. So a question on this can be asked in the exam, and a question like this can be asked in the exam. You are given some carbonyls, maybe the bond order, maybe the bond length, and one more thing. Here actually bond order in carbonyl. Then this is the answer. But you may be asked about bond order of the bond between metal and carbon. See, when the metal has the highest tendency to donate, the bond present between the metal and carbon, it has more bond order. And the bond order of the bond between carbon and oxygen, it will have the least value. And you be very careful. Bond order of which bond he is asking, metal carbon bond or carbon oxygen bond. When metal carbon bond has more and more bond order, that means the metal has greater tendency to donate electron density, the bond order in carbon monoxide will decrease. So more the metal carbon bond order, lesser will be the carbon oxygen bond order, and vice versa. So now this is about bonding in carbonyls, but this is according to VBT. And I already told you, VBT successfully explains all the aspects of bonding of metal carbonyls, and you see, and there is evidence on the board. So it explained the synergy bond, bond orders, everything is explained. Bond orders in normal complexes, bond orders in bridging complexes, polynuclear complexes. Now let me add one small point to this metal carbonyls. I already told you, valence bond theory is completely successful in explaining all the bonding aspects of metal carbonyls. But if you want to see the molecular orbital theory, actually you all know molecular orbital diagrams of some simple molecules, hydrogen, H2, similarly N2, O2, F2, you recall that? Now, how the molecular orbital diagram of nitrogen looks like? Nitrogen, that means N2. So it will be like this. This is 1s orbital, and this is also 1s orbital. This is of one nitrogen, that is of one nitrogen. Two nitrogens come and they form bonds. Okay. Now this is 2s, and this is 3s. 2p and 2p. So this is the 1s, this is 2s and 2s, this is 2p and 2p. Now nitrogen has total 14 electrons. So if you fill in the increasing order of energy, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So what is the bond order of nitrogen? 3. Number of bonding electrons minus number of anti-bonding electrons upon 2. That is how you define bond order in molecular orbital theory. Nitrogen is diamagnetic. There is no unpaired electron. Now, all of you know, to explain the bonding in nitrogen, actually molecular orbital theory is not necessary. You can explain all the features of nitrogen with valence bond theory. Bond order, magnetic nature, everything. Now similarly, if you come to carbon monoxide, now you tell me what are the total number of electrons in carbon and oxygen together? 14, carbon 6 plus oxygen 8, 14. Same number of electrons in nitrogen. So molecular orbital diagram of nitrogen is similar to molecular orbital diagram of carbon monoxide. Now if you see that, then you see, this is the oneness of oxygen, this is the oneness of carbon, this is the oneness of oxygen. Now slight difference. Here actually both are nitrogens and their energies are exactly same. Oneness of nitrogen, oneness of nitrogen. You know, there cannot be any difference between them in energies. Similarly 2s, similarly 2p. So no energy difference. But oneness of carbon and oneness of oxygen. Yeah, how can they be of same energy? And one more thing, the energy of the potential energy of the oneness of the oxygen is lesser because oxygen is smaller than carbon. The orbitals are closer to nucleus, so lesser energy. So this is of oxygen, let me write down here, this is of carbon. So 1s, 1s. Same is the case with 2s and 2s. Now same is the case with 2p and 2p. Now that is the only difference, otherwise everything else is same. Now this is the 3 degenerate 2p orbitals of carbon, and these are the 3 degenerate p orbitals of oxygen. So here pi, sigma, pi star, sigma star. Now this is the atomic orbitals of oxygen, these are the atomic orbitals of carbon, and these are the molecular orbitals which are present in between. So now the total number of electrons in carbon monoxide is 14. So now if you fill them according to the increasing order of energy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now for example, this carbon monoxide accepts electron density from the metal. It is giving its electron density to the metal, thereby it is forming sigma bond, and it is in turn it is accepting electron density from the metal. So whatever electron density comes from the metal, that goes into the pi star orbital of carbon monoxide. You know, that is called as pi star. Sigma, sigma star, sigma, sigma star, these two are pi, this is sigma, and those two are pi star, and this is sigma star. So the lowest energy vacant orbital available in carbon monoxide is this pi star 2p. So the electron density that comes from metal will go into the pi star orbital. And as a result, what happens to the bond order of carbon monoxide? Decreases, because more and more electrons that go into the anti-bonding orbital, lesser and lesser will be the bond order, because bond order is equal to number of bonding electrons minus number of anti-bonding electrons upon 2. So if more electrons go into the anti-bonding electrons, the bond order decreases. And decrease in bond order already successfully has been explained by valence bond theory, and that is the reason I told you MOT is not necessary here. But if you want to see, because you know the molecular orbital diagram of nitrogen, and just if you extend the same diagram to carbon monoxide, the same result you are getting. So because of the acceptance of pi electrons from the metal, and because those electrons are occupying the anti-bonding orbital, bond order decreases. So now in from MOT point of view also you can explain the same thing. So all of you, let me sum up this topic actually. Metal carbonyls they have some special characteristics when compared to other complexes. The first one is they remarkably follow EAN rule with very few exceptions. Central metal atom or central metal ion is in a very low oxidation state, sometimes even negative. There are two types of carbon monoxide ligands in the metal carbonyls. One is terminal, second one is bridging. And we have seen one complex in which we have seen that bridging carbonyls. And in carbon monoxide, the bonding is two-way, synergy bond, sigma donation, pi acceptance. And as a result, this bond becomes strong. The bond order is greater than 1. But at the same time, the bond order in carbon monoxide decreases. It becomes weaker and weaker. Bond length increases. More the electron donating capacity of the metal, lesser the bond order in carbon monoxide, but more the bond order between metal and carbon. And the same thing can be explained from molecular orbital theory also. This is all about metal carbonyls.